Discover the incredible moment when a billionaire's little boy found an unexpected smile at 10. Max Thompson stood in the midst of sparkling balloons and laughter, the sun illuminating the opulent fair surrounding him, but all he felt was a sense of disconnect. The community fair in the affluent suburbs of Richmond, Virginia, was supposed to be a joyous affair. Instead, it felt like another tour through the gilded cage that was his life. Everywhere he looked, families enjoyed the warmth of each other's company while he was tethered to his father's lofty expectations, a silent observer amidst the revelry. He watched from the edge of the park as kids his age ran and played, their giggles punctuating the air like music he longed to be a part of. But all Max encountered was the weight of his father's ambition that hung heavy around his neck, a $1,000,000 noose. Luxury was around him, extravagant decorations, friendly faces, and the aroma of popcorn mingled with cotton candy. Yet Max felt more alone than ever. The day dragged on until he finally mustered enough courage to slip away, wandering through rows of colorful stalls. Each step away from his father felt like a breath of fresh air, but it also filled him with fear of what his dad would think. He was searching for something real. That's when he stumbled upon a quaint lemonade stand, a simple sight nestled among the extravagant booths. Standing behind it was Ellie, a girl whose sparkling eyes were brighter than the sugary concoctions she served. "Hi, want some lemonade?" she chirped, her enthusiasm infectious. Max took a hesitant step forward, intrigued by her bubbling spirit. She poured a cup and handed it to him, a wide smile spreading across her face. As they sipped the tangy drink, Ellie launched into stories, a whirlwind of adventures filled with imagination and laughter. It was pure joy, untainted by wealth or social status. "Wow, you really think outside the box," Max exclaimed, his heart beginning to lift. They talked, laughed, and shared their dreams. For the first time in what felt like forever, he felt a connection, like he belonged to something. Max basked in the warm sun and Ellie's sincerity, feeling the shadows of loneliness slowly melt away. Before long, word reached his father. "Max, there you are?" Mr. Thompson's voice cut through the laughter like a knife. He caught sight of Ellie, and the brightness in Max's eyes dimmed. "What are you doing with that?" he said disdainfully, the judgment thick in the air, branding her family as beneath them. Max's stomach twisted at the conflict that spread through his chest. "She's just my friend," Max shot back, surprised at his own courage. But the words barely escaped him before the weight of his father's expectations began to anchor him once again. The tension was suffocating, the whispers from the adults swirling like a storm. He could almost feel the eyes on him, judging, waiting for him to conform. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As Ellie stood surrounded by smiling kids, her joy radiated, unaffected by the adult pressures mounting around them. In that pivotal moment, Max realized something deep within. He wanted authenticity, laughter that rang true, not the hollow praise that came with his family name. With the sun setting, casting a golden glow between their worlds, Max labeled his feelings loyalty to his father or the truest joy he found in Ellie's friendship. His heart raced as he stood at the crossroads, uncertainty washing over him. One decision could fracture the worlds he occupied. Max's gaze met Ellie's, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Would he have the strength to choose his happiness, or would he be swallowed by his father's expectations and the invisible cage they created together? Max felt the heaviness of the moment hang in the air, a tightrope between two worlds. His father's glinting expectations and the pure, airy laughter that Ellie brought. The fading sunlight painted the fair in shades of gold, but the shadows of doubt clouded his heart. "Max," his father's voice cut through the noise again, both demanding and short-tempered. "Come here. We need to leave." Max's stomach lurched. He glanced back at Ellie, whose bright smile faltered, replaced by confusion. It felt as if the weight of the world bore down on him, and in that moment, he was terrified of what saying goodbye would mean. "Just a minute." Max called, his heart pounding. It was a small rebellion, but a rebellion nonetheless. The eyes of other kids who weren't wearing suits at 10, kids who played for the joy of playing watched him, their faces expectant. Your father is calling you. Come on. Ellie's voice was quiet now, but still hopeful. It pierced through his doubts like a beacon. Max hesitated, uncertainty crashing over him, a tidal wave that threatened to pull him under. But then he locked eyes with Ellie, and he felt a rush. What if, just this once, he didn't follow the path laid out for him? As he walked closer to Ellie, the laughter of the fair grew fainter, replaced by the thumping of his heart in his ears. He took a deep breath, trying to find the courage buried deep inside. Dad, I want to stay a bit longer with you, began, but the frustrated look on his father's face silenced him. Max, you need to understand your responsibilities. His father's tone was sharp, echoing the values he'd drilled into his son since childhood. You can't just waste time with these people. Max felt a heat rise within him. A fire that had long been dimmed by his father's harsh expectations started to spark. But she's my friend. The words burst out before he could hold them back, surprising even himself. In that moment, a small silence fell. Ellie's eyes widened in surprise, and the air between them pulsed with an unspoken challenge. Friends? Mr. Thompson sneered. You're 10 years old, Max. This is not the time for that. As the words landed like heavy stones, Max felt something shift inside him, a decision forming amidst the turmoil. Maybe it is, Max whispered, feeling the weight of his choice. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, anger boiling beneath the surface, but Max stood firm. The crowd around them didn't matter. Only Ellie's encouraging gaze grounded him, strengthening his resolve. You don't understand, Dad, he implored, voice quavering yet resolute. I just want to be me. The tension in the air crackled, and for the first time, it felt like Max was voicing more than just a disagreement. He was declaring liberation. But as he uttered those words, fear slithered through him. What would his father do? Would he explode? Before anyone could speak, Ellie took a brave step forward, her small figure radiating an unexpected strength. Mr. Thompson, I just wanted to be friends with Max. I'm not here to bother you. There was sincerity in her words, a raw goodness that grounded them both. Mr. Thompson's expression twisted, caught between disbelief and anger, and for a moment, the air was still, teetering on an unsteady edge. Max's heart raced. Would his father crush this budding friendship in an instant? Suddenly, the crowd buzzed with curiosity, eyes turning towards them. Max felt a swell of courage, not just for himself, but for Ellie, too. What if he didn't back down? The moment stretched. Could he defy his father and take the first real step towards becoming who he truly wanted to be? Max's heart hammered wildly as he took a breath, gathering all his courage. Dad, I choose to be here with Ellie. And with that declaration hanging in the air, uncertainty loomed over him like thunder in a storm. Would this choice forge a new path, or shut him down completely? The silence thrummed heavily around them, punctuated only by the distant laughter of children still enjoying the fair. Max's gaze stayed locked on his father, searching for any sign of understanding, any glimpse of acceptance. Instead, he saw fury boiling just beneath the surface. Ellie's presence felt like a shield, but as Mr. Thompson's lips pursed and his fists clenched, Max's heartbeat surged again, this time with an urgent instinct to flee. But he couldn't move. Not now. If you think you don't have to listen to me, you're mistaken, his father finally spoke, his voice low but filled with seething intensity. You are a Thompson, and you have responsibilities. Those words hit Max harder than he expected, each syllable an echo of years spent trying to fit into a mold he never wanted. Suddenly, being a part of his family felt like wearing a heavy coat in summer, enclosing him, suffocating him. No, Max managed, his voice stronger than before. I want to be more than just a surname. I want to have friends, to have a life. The confession slipped out like air gushing from a balloon, freeing him from a lifetime of pressure. The crowd murmured, whispers alive in the electric air. Max caught a glimpse of Ellie, her eyes wide, filled with something he had never really seen before, approval and courage. For a fleeting moment, he saw himself reflected in her gaze, a kid who just wanted to play and laugh without a care in the world. Mr. Thompson's mouth twitched, his composure splintering. Friends? He scoffed, incredulous. You think this is the way to grow up? With kids like her? Why not? Max shouted, surprising even himself. What is wrong with being friends with Ellie? She makes me happy. As he spoke, Max felt the weight of the crowd's attention shift. They leaned in, sensing the unraveling of something big. The pressure in his chest loosened a bit. He was no longer just a scared boy trying to please his father. That moment, Ellie spoke with steady certainty. Maybe growing up is about making our own choices, Mr. Thompson. Maybe it's not about what's expected, but what feels right. Mr. Thompson's gaze darted between them, incredulity battling respect. It was as if he were seeing Max for the first time, not just his son, but a person with thoughts and dreams. The realization weakened his stance, making the facade of authority waver. Max's heart swelled, a bittersweet blend of pride and fear. Could this really be happening? Would his father ever acknowledge the boy that lay beneath the weight of expectations? Mr. Thompson began, his voice eerily calm. The tone was different, a crack forming in the stern demeanor Max had known all his life. Think carefully. This isn't just about today. It's about your future. Max held his breath. It felt like everything hung in the air. Maybe this was the moment that defined him, the point where he could finally forge a path for himself. I know what I want, he declared, trying to project the confidence that flickered within him. I want to choose my friends. I want to live my life, not just be what you want me to be. As he finished, the world around him spun a little slower. The tension, thick as fog, began to clear as Max sensed Ellie's hand nudging his own, a supportive squeeze that made his heart flutter. All at once, it didn't feel like just a confrontation. It felt like the beginning of something new. For the first time, Max understood that standing up for himself wasn't just an act of rebellion. It was a step toward freedom. Mr. Thompson narrowed his eyes, contemplating not just Max's words, but the boy himself. As the celebration of lights blazed above them, casting vibrant colors over the scene, a tiny hope ignited within Max. Would his father choose to honor his voice? And as the crowd watched breathlessly, the next moment stretched out, heavy with anticipation, waiting for a decision that could change everything. Would this be the moment that reunited them, or an unstoppable wedge? The crowd shifted uneasily, caught in the tension that seemed to sizzle between father and son. Max watched as Mr. Thompson took a deep breath, his face a storm of confusion and conflict. Max, this isn't just about who you choose to be friends with. This country, this family is about living up to your name, right? Max interrupted, a fire sparking within him. But what if my name means living in a cage? Because that's what it feels like. I need to be me. The murmurs from the gathering swelled, voices blending into a chorus of surprise and speculation. Ellie stood beside him, her eyes steady, encouraging, urging him to push on. You've always told me what I should do, who I should be, who I should hang out with, he continued, feeling the rhythm of his own words build momentum. But you never listened, Dad. You never heard me. A flicker of vulnerability skimmed across Mr. Thompson's face, shadows of doubt creeping into his eyes. I just want what's best for you, he conceded, his voice beginning to crack. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. Then let me make my own mistakes, Max replied gently, the edge in his voice softening. Let me discover my own path. All I'm asking for is the freedom to find out who I really am, not who you think I should be. Silence fell, a thick, heavy layer of stillness focusing on their words. Ellie squeezed Max's hand again, a silent vow of support. He felt her warmth rise through his fingertips, weaving a connection that cut through the tension surrounding them. The distant laughter of children echoed, an innocent reminder of the joy in the air, and Max couldn't help but smile at the contrast. Here he stood, on the brink of something monumental, wanting to be free, yet tethered by love for the father before him. Thompson cleared his throat, looking around at the gathering crowd, witnessing a spectacle he hadn't expected. His authority began to crumble under the sincerity in his son's voice, the raw honesty laid bare between them. I've worked so hard to create a future for you, Mr. Thompson's voice waned, the weight of his words weary on his shoulders. I thought I was protecting you. Max's heart thumped loudly in his chest as he saw tears glint in his father's eyes for the first time. I didn't ask you to create a future I didn't want. I just wanted you to see that I'm me. The air crackled with uncertainty, but a thread of unspoken hope knotted them together. Max felt the shift, the crack in the hardened armor his father wore. Yet he remained apprehensive, aware that this moment could either draw them closer or drive a rift that might never mend. Mr. Thompson finally breathed, his brow furrowed in deep contemplation. "If I let you choose, what will you decide?" Max took a shaky breath, feeling weighty with his father's question. He glanced at Ellie, who smiled back at him reassuringly, and the answer came to him like a whisper in the wind. "I'll choose to be happy, Dad. I'll choose Ellie. I'll choose me." A flicker of realization crossed Mr. Thompson's face, and for the first time, it dawned on Max that this was far more than a mere confrontation. This could reshape their entire relationship. But before they could delve deeper, a loud shout burst from the crowd, a random burst of excitement over a nearby game booth, pulling everyone's attention away. The moment hung in the air, fragile and unfinished, resentment and acceptance spinning like a carousel just out of reach. The thrill of possibility crackled, leaving a burning question hanging. Would Mr. Thompson edge closer to understanding, or retreat back into the shadows of expectation? Max felt the atmosphere shift. The sudden shout from the crowd snapped him back to reality, a world that momentarily flew away with their heavy conversation. Laughter erupted from a nearby game booth, children's voices spilling like music into the air, reminding him of the carefree days of his childhood. It was a stark contrast to the heaviness weighing on his heart. Mr. Thompson, still caught in thought, glanced momentarily at the source of commotion. His eyes flickered back to Max, and Max could see the battle between the old world and the new playing out on his father's face. The expectation that had once felt like a weight of concrete on Max's chest began to feel lighter, replaced by something unrecognizable. Was it understanding? "Dad," Max said softly, sensing the change but not wanting to rush it. "It's okay to be scared. I'm scared too. But we have to start somewhere." A nearby kid squealed with delight after winning a stuffed bear, the simple joy bursting through the air. Max watched Ellie as she turned to him, her bright smile easing the tension in his chest. She was a beacon of hope, not just for him, but for the moment they were all sharing. "What if I told you," Mr. Thompson began slowly, almost as though he was testing his words against the reality of the moment, "that I feel like I've lost my way too? It was easier when I was making decisions for you. But seeing you like this," his voice trailed off, leaving a heavy weight of admission in its wake. Tears began to pool at the corners of Mr. Thompson's eyes again, and for the first time, Max didn't feel anger or frustration. Instead, he felt a deep sense of compassion. He stepped closer, a gesture that felt bold and yet natural. "We can find our way together, Dad, but I need you to trust me. Trust who I am." The crowd around them kept swaying, the playful sounds of joy a distant backdrop to their deepening connection. It was as if time paused. All that mattered now was this moment. "I just want you to be safe," Mr. Thompson whispered, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. Max exhaled, feeling the warmth of hope blossom between them. "I will be, but I need you by my side." For a fleeting second, they locked eyes, and in that moment, the distance felt smaller. The unspoken words hung heavy, desire for connection on both sides. Ellie stepped in, squeezing Max's hand tighter, giving him a gentle nod that said, "This is your moment." But in an instant, the noise of the crowd took a new turn. A group of kids burst through with a large banner, their spirits high, declaring some sort of festival game victory. Laughter erupted again, sweeping them back into the reality of the fair, leaving behind their vulnerable exchange. "Maybe," Mr. Thompson said suddenly, breaking the spell, "we can take a moment to enjoy this. Together, just like we used to." Joy surged through Max like a current. "I'd like that." As they stepped forward, taking in the vibrant colors of the fair, the lights began to dim, but a glimmer of hope lingered in the air. Laughter filled Max's heart, a newfound purpose igniting within him. Yet, amid the jubilance, Max couldn't shake the feeling that they were still walking a tightrope. The conversation had transformed, but was it enough for lasting change? Doubt shadowed him momentarily, making him wonder if he could truly have the father he'd always wanted, or if it was just a fleeting moment. Their next challenge was looming, shrouded in uncertainty as they ventured deeper into the festival, caught between hope and hesitation. Would they be ready when the past came calling? As Max and Mr. Thompson stepped deeper into the fair, the sights and sounds wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Each laugh and cheerful shout from children reminded Max of when he was younger, moments filled with pure delight and no responsibilities. He glanced at Ellie, whose eyes sparkled with excitement, as she pointed toward the Ferris wheel, tall and majestic, like a beacon drawing them closer. "Can we go on that?" she asked, looking back and forth between Max and Mr. Thompson. "Absolutely," Mr. Thompson replied, a genuine smile breaking through the remnants of his earlier cloud of worry. It felt as if a new connection had formed, a bridge being built between his past fears and a brighter future. Max felt a flutter of excitement. This could be the beginning of something different. "Make sure you hold on tight, Ellie. It's going to be a wild ride," he joked, already imagining the tickle of the wind against his cheeks as they approached the ride. Max's heart raced. It wasn't just the thrill of the Ferris wheel that excited him. It was the thought of sharing the experience with his dad and Ellie. He wanted to create memories, ones that wouldn't be clouded by past misunderstandings. Once they settled into their seats, the ride began its slow climb. The view grew more breathtaking with each turn, revealing the colorful tapestry of the festival below, buzzing with life. They were high above the ground now, and it felt symbolic, almost like they were rising above their struggles. "Look at that!" Ellie exclaimed, her voice dripping with joy as she pointed at a group of kids playing games near the booth. "They're winning so many prizes." "Yeah," Max replied, his enthusiasm infectious. "Maybe we should join them later." As they reached the top, the Ferris wheel paused, and for a moment the world beneath them faded into the background. It was just the three of them, suspended in time. "Dad," Max broke the momentary silence. "I know things can be tough, but I'm really starting to believe we can be better together." Mr. Thompson's eyes shone with a mix of surprise and gratitude. "It's strange," he said, voice thick with emotion, "but I feel like I'm learning from you. You're teaching me what it means to really listen." Suddenly, Max noticed a shadow flicker across his father's face. "What's wrong?" he asked, his heart tightening. "It's just," Mr. Thompson paused, inhaling deeply as if preparing for a storm. "I've made choices that hurt you. I see that now. I want to be better for you." A softness washed over Max, lightening the tightness in his chest. "It's okay, Dad. We can fix this. You're trying, and that matters." In that moment, the Ferris wheel lurched into motion again, descending slowly. They exchanged glances, and for the first time, it felt like they were moving forward together, not just through the festival, but through their relationship. As they stepped off the ride, laughter bubbled between them, punctuated by Ellie's bright giggles. Max could see the way Mr. Thompson looked at Ellie, the warmth in his gaze. It was a small shift, yet so monumental. "Let us go play some games," Ellie chirped, tugging at both of their hands. They followed her eagerly, anticipation bubbling to the surface. Max couldn't shake the feeling that they stood at the edge of something incredible. But lurking in the back of his mind was a shadow, whispering warnings of uncertainty. What if everything fell apart again? Yet, as he watched Ellie win a small prize, a stuffed bunny, he felt the hope grow stronger within him. They were moving toward healing, and with each moment shared, they wrote a new story together. But as they turned towards the next booth, Max spotted a familiar figure in the crowd, someone from his past who could disrupt everything. His breath caught in his throat. Would this unexpected encounter threaten the fragile bond they were building? As they navigated through the crowded fair, Max's heart pounded a little harder. The familiar figure loomed larger with every step he took, a specter from another chapter of his life. He squinted to get a clearer view. Was it really him? "Hey, what's up?" Ellie's voice broke through his thoughts, laughter lingering in her words. She was still clutching her new stuffed bunny, her eyes bright with joy. Mr. Thompson looked over at Max, sensing the shift in his son's mood. "Just give me a second." Max's voice was barely above a whisper. He could feel the weight of the past like a thick fog wrapping around him. "Max, is everything okay?" Mr. Thompson asked, concern etched on his face. "Yeah, it's just," Max hesitated, his mind racing. "It's Sean." "Who is Sean?" Ellie tilted her head, her innocence only amplifying Max's mounting anxiety. Max took a deep breath, trying to steady his shaking hands. "He's an old friend. I haven't seen him in a long time." As Sean approached, the cheerful atmosphere of the fair seemed to fade into the background. The boy who used to be a source of laughter and camaraderie had evolved into something else, someone Max had unresolved feelings toward. Sean had been popular, charismatic, and, at times, overwhelming. They had drifted apart, and now that nagging feeling of inadequacy crept back. "Max," Sean called out, a friendly grin plastered on his face. "I thought that was you. It's been ages." Max forced a smile, the tension in his shoulders creeping back. "Yeah, it has." He shook Sean's hand, feeling the familiar grasp, but it felt different now, and awkwardness bloomed between them. "Looks like you're having fun with your family," Sean noted, eyeing Mr. Thompson and Ellie. "Good for you, man. Didn't he think you liked these kinds of things?" "Yeah. Well, things change." "Totally." Sean shrugged, his eyes darting to Ellie. "Is this your sister?" "She's cute." It's my little sister, Ellie," Max corrected nervously. He felt protective of Ellie, not wanting the challenging past to invade their joyful moment. "Cool. I remember when we were her age. So much fun." Sean laughed, but the laughter felt hollow. Max wondered if Sean even remembered the troubles they'd faced, the tears, the fights, the days they were enemies. Ellie tugged on Max's arm. "I want to play the balloon darts." "Can we please?" "Sure, let us go," he answered, grateful for the distraction. As he led them away, he glanced back at Sean, feeling a strange weight lift. Maybe the past didn't need to dictate the present. "Max, you okay?" Mr. Thompson asked again, clearly aware of the tension. "Yeah, I don't know how to feel," Max admitted, keeping his voice low so Ellie wouldn't hear. Seeing him again, it brought back a lot. Sometimes those feelings can pop up out of nowhere. It's okay to feel mixed emotions. You're growing. You'll figure it out. Mr. Thompson's kind words wrapped around Max, and he held on to them like a lifeline. As they approached the balloon dart game, laughter rang out. Max watched as Ellie pointed at the colorful balloons, excitement bubbling in her chest. He felt that same excitement stir within him, pushing back against the lingering shadows of doubt. With each balloon that burst, Max let go little by little, the remnants of that anxiety drifting further away. There was healing in that, in losing himself in smiles and laughter. But then his gaze flickered back toward where Sean stood, laughing with another group of friends. Did old wounds really heal, or did they just linger beneath the surface, waiting to be reopened? "Max, look," Ellie squeaked, holding up a bright red balloon dart. "I'm gonna aim for the big one." Max forced a smile, but the sensation of uncertainty nipped at him, whispering questions. What would the future hold if the past still lingered? Could he really take a step forward with a reminder of what hurt him? Breath quickening, Max caught sight of something else, a shift in the crowd, and Sean's gaze locked onto him again. What did Sean really want from him? Would this encounter reignite old fears, or would it be the closure he didn't know he needed? Max's heart raced as he turned away from the dart game, feeling a knot tighten in his stomach. The laughter and excitement around him faded, replaced by a swirling tension. He couldn't shake the feeling that Sean's presence would pull him back into old memories, some heavy, some too bright to face head-on. Ellie let out a whoop of joy as her dart pierced a balloon, showering her with a burst of bright confetti. "Did you see that, Max?" she exclaimed, her face lighting up like the summer sun. In that moment, Max couldn't help but crack a genuine smile, the simple joy of his sister's excitement momentarily grounding him. "Great job," he cheered, trying to focus on Ellie, but his mind was still partially racing toward Sean. What would they even talk about if they spoke again? There was so much they hadn't discussed: the fallout, the silence that had grown all too loud. "Can I try next?" Ellie's eyes sparkled as she pulled on Max's sleeve, her enthusiasm contagious. "Of course." He watched as she bounced from foot to foot, an infectious joy radiating from her. It reminded him how simple life could be, and yet he couldn't help but feel that next step creeping closer, the inevitable confrontation looming just outside their bubble of happiness. As they moved to the next stall, Ellie tugged on her bunny's ear, looking up at Max. "Do you think Sean is your friend now?" I don't know," Max replied carefully. "Sometimes friendships change, People can grow apart. Can they grow back together again?" she asked, her brow furrowing in concern. Max paused. "They can, if both people want that. But it takes time." He glanced back at Sean, who was still in the same spot. It was like a magnet pulling him in, as if the universe was screaming for him to take that leap. "Max," Sean's voice rang out, warmer this time, deeper and filled with a hint of longing. His smile was still there, but there was something else behind it, a sense of desire for connection, perhaps, a sense of wanting to bridge the distance. "Hey, Sean," Max said, his voice steadier than he felt. He took a breath. This was the moment. The crossroads he had both dreaded and anticipated. "Did you come with your family?" Sean asked, glancing at Ellie then back at Max. There was a hint of nostalgia in his eyes, and it made Max's heart twinge with something reminiscent of friendship. "Yeah, just spending time together," Max replied, his protective instincts flaring in defense of Ellie. He wanted to keep their moment safe from any turbulence Sean might bring into their lives again. "Good to see you happy, man. You always had that infectious smile." The comment caught Max off guard. He felt a rush of warmth, yet uncertainty filled the gaps. Was Sean genuine, or was he merely playing the part of a happy-go-lucky guy? "We've always had our ups and downs," Max managed, his throat tightening. "But yeah, I guess it's nice to see you too." "For what it's worth, I missed you," Sean said, an earnestness creeping into his tone. "It's been weird not having you around." Max's heart wavered at that. Did they really want to connect? They were still living in the shadows of a past filled with hurt. But here stood Sean, vulnerable in his own way, and there was something about his voice that rang true. "What about the old crew? Are they here?" Max managed to ask. He needed to pull himself into safer territory. Conversations about old friends felt safe, predictable. "Most of them are scattered," Sean said, a hint of sadness fluttering across his face. "Things change, right? But I hope that doesn't mean we can't talk and go back to how it was, at least a little." The air shifted. Max felt a swell of hope mixed with doubt. Could they really mend what had once been broken? Ellie tugged on his arm again, eager for his attention. "Max, can we go for cotton candy next?" "Sure, let us go," he said, though his eyes lingered on Sean, caught between the safety of his sister and the unresolved history standing before him. As they walked away, Max's heart raced. Was he really ready to open up the past again? Or would it simply pull him back into something he wasn't sure he could handle? But Sean's voice followed him, echoing in his mind. "I missed you." What did that really mean? And could he allow himself to explore this new chapter with Sean, or was it bound to end in more pain? The questions hung heavy in the air, trailing behind him. Max could still feel the warmth of Sean's words brushing against him, making the air around them feel heavier. As they walked toward the cotton candy stand, the vibrant colors of the fairgrounds swirled around him like a surreal dream. Ellie's laughter pierced the air, a sweet sound that momentarily soothed his anxious heart. "Look, Max, pink or blue?" she asked, her big eyes glancing between the two fluffy options. The question, innocent and light, pulled him back from his spiraling thoughts. "Let us get both," he suggested, watching as her face transformed into pure glee. What was a few extra calories when it brought such joy? He reached into his pocket, counted the bills, and handed them to the vendor. The sweet smell of sugar wafted up, enchanting Ellie as she bounced on her toes, counting down the seconds until their treat was ready. But even as he handed over the cash, Max's heart drifted back to Sean. Memories of late-night talks and endless laughter blended with pangs of betrayal and disappointment. Did they have enough between them to rebuild? The doubt echoed like a haunting melody in his mind. "Here you go." The vendor handed over the cotton candy, wrapping it in a paper cone like a colorful cloud. Max turned back to Ellie, who was already diving into the sugary fluff. "Yum," she exclaimed, her face lighting up as she took her first bite. Without thinking, Max couldn't help but chuckle. "You look like a cotton candy monster," he teased, grinning as the sticky threads stuck to her cheeks. Ellie giggled, pretending to growl, and for a fleeting moment, the burdens of the past melted away. Watching her savor the sweetness reminded him how fleeting happiness could sometimes feel, like the cotton candy quickly dissolving on the tongue, ephemeral yet blissful. But his moment of peace shattered as he felt a presence nearby. Sean stood at the edge of their bubble, shifting his weight, uncertainty written all over his face. He looked like an old friend trying to find his way back into the fold, but Max couldn't help but feel the weight of 1,000 unspoken words between them. "Hey, can I join?" Sean asked, hesitating slightly. Max's breath caught in his throat. The stakes felt higher now, the invitation more than just words. To say yes and allow Sean back into his life was to invite the past rushing back in. pulling every joy and pain with it. Could they really forge something new? Or would opening that door only take him back into the chaos they once shared? Ellie, oblivious to the tension, nodded eagerly. Of course, more people means more fun. Right, Max? Her innocent enthusiasm tugged at his heart, boosting him with a fleeting sense of courage. It wasn't just about him anymore. What he chose next would impact Ellie too. Could he allow himself the chance of joy, to reclaim what once existed? Sure, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. We can share. As Sean stepped closer, Max felt a rush of conflicting emotions: fear, hope, and something warmer, almost like longing. They stood like pillars of the past, each of them unsure of how to bridge the divide that time had wrought. A strange warmth spread through his chest. Maybe they could find a way to connect. Maybe this was a path back toward friendship. But as Sean flashed a tentative smile, something nagged at Max's mind. What if it ends up being worse? With that thought echoing in his head, there was no turning back. The sweetness of the moment chilled, leaving an uncertainty hanging in the air, a balancing act between proximity and distance. As Sean reached for a piece of Ellie's cotton candy, Max wondered whether their past could truly merge with their present. What would it cost them to try and rekindle a friendship? And in that silence, Max felt another tugging question arise. Could they ever share a laugh again without the weight of memories pulling them down? Max stood at the edge of the fairground, the laughter swirling around him, but his heart was a different story. The cotton candy he shared with Ellie was sweet, sticky, and filled with joy, yet Sean's unexpected presence had stirred a whirlwind of uncertainty. As Sean reached for a piece of Ellie's enjoyment, something shifted in the air, an electric charge making Max's chest tighten. Hey, do you remember that time we went to the arcade and played basketball? I still can't believe you beat me every time. Sean's laugh aimed for nostalgia, but it felt like a double-edged sword, cutting through years of silence while leaving Max wary. Yeah, but you always said it was just beginner-esque luck, Max responded cautiously, half smiling, yet guarded. Still, he could see Ellie beaming, oblivious to the unresolved tension as she took a big bite of her cotton candy. This is so good, she squealed, a burst of pure happiness lighting her face. Max couldn't help but chuckle again, her innocent joy softening the storm brewing inside him. Sean, it's good to see you again, Max said, attempting to keep the conversation grounded in lighter territory. You too, man. I didn't think we'd bump into each other here, especially given how things ended. Sean looked genuinely remorseful, his gaze earnest. Max's heart raced. Could he do this? Could he confront the past, knowing it might hold warmth or bitterness? As if sensing the moment, Ellie tugged on his sleeve, her big eyes bouncing from Max to Sean. Can you two be friends again? Please? Her little voice was imbued with pure hope, a request that felt like a plea for connection, not just for her brother, but for the electricity of joy that every child deserves. Max glanced at Sean, whose hearty smile had dimmed slightly, revealing flickers of vulnerability. I don't know, Ellie. It's complicated, he admitted, feeling the weight of his words. Complicated doesn't mean it's impossible, Sean interjected, a spark of determination shining through his uncertainty. The past can din too loud, but it doesn't always have to dictate who we are now. Max's breath caught. The words, though loaded with past moments, felt new. He looked at Sean, the kid he once knew, and saw someone who, despite their breaks, still wanted to reach out. You're right, he replied slowly. But it's going to take time. We can't just forget what happened. Sean nodded, acknowledging the truth in Max's words. I get that. I just hope we can make some new memories together, instead of letting the old ones dictate how we act. Ellie, still bouncing on her toes, looked at them excitedly. Can we try? Right now? We can go win more prizes. Please. Her enthusiasm was infectious. Max felt himself slipping into a smile despite the tendril of anxiety still gripping his heart. It seemed lighter standing beside Sean. He felt like a fusion of his past, present, and future colliding into something hopeful. He took a deep breath, determined to move forward. Okay, let us do that. Sean's face lit up like the crowded carnival lights above. Awesome. How about we show Ellie our skills at the ring toss? We can team up. Let us see who can win her the biggest prize. Max added, feeling excitement flicker anew, and the weight of uncertainty began to lift as they joined together in a path forward. They moved toward the ring toss booth, laughter bubbling between them. Each step released more of the emotional turbulence that had held Max captive. The joy Ellie radiated renewed that spark within him, the one reminding him that friendship wasn't always a straight line, but a labyrinth of choices that led to discovery. Together, Ellie cheered, bouncing between them as they approached the booth. Max organized his mind, binding the past while focusing on the now. "Ready, Sean?" "Ready as I'll ever be," Sean affirmed, grabbing rings as Ellie ran to the front with her eyes wide, pointing enthusiastically at the massive stuffed bear on display. The vibrant colors matched the exhilarating feeling washing over Max, as if they were simulating a balance of joy and anxiety. As they played, moments of laughter echoed, a blend of friendly banter that felt refreshing. Each success brought Ellie to squeals of delight, and with every ring tossed, they built a bridge toward healing. Yet, deep down, Max understood that though they had moved on to joy, the past would still surface occasionally, and he was ready to navigate it head-on. As the last ring nestled snugly around a prize, Ellie squealed, holding her new stuffed bear tight. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Her excited voice enveloped both boys in a warmth that momentarily made them forget the shadows behind them. Max turned toward Sean, his lips curving into a genuine smile. "See, not so complicated after all." "Not at all," Sean agreed, and for the first time in a long time, the weight of the past felt lighter, transformed by the innocence and intertwining of friendship around them. As Ellie hugged her prize, letting her giggles dance on the breeze, Max felt a fresh beginning unfurling. Life would always have challenges, but standing together, they forged a promise of friendship rebuilt, a journey onward, and the collective laughter that would echo in their hearts, forever reminding them of this moment of connection. This was just the start, and together, they would take their next step into the bright, shining unknown. You need to subscribe now to our channel to unveil more inspiring transformations and hear stories that resonate. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure you never miss another heartwarming tale. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let's keep the conversation alive. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. Your engagement means everything. Don't miss out. Be a part of this growing community today.